All right, so welcome to our EV forum. My name is Connor Reardon. I'm the Energy and Sustainability Manager at the Littleton Light and Water Department. I'm sure most of you know me or have corresponded through email through the program. So I just want to welcome everyone. And to get started, we're going to do our program goals. Actually, first, I want to start with a poll question. Um, Throughout the webinar, we'll be asking polls to get some feedback. So see if this will work. All right, so our first poll of this evening is: do you drive an EV? And it's good. I can see some responses already hopping in. A couple more seconds to get everyone's chance to respond. It looks like majority drives an EV. I can share these results, I believe. And we do have, looks like one that does not. All right, awesome. All right, so to start, we're going to go over our program goals. So the EV program goals and objectives, the major components is to support adoption of EVs, customer benefits, education, and data collection. So supporting the adoption of EV technology, the Light Department has always strived to support customers in transitioning to new technology. It's been achieved throughout the years by providing education, incentives, and charging solutions. And that also ties into the goal of providing customer benefits. Also, we want to provide education. So we believe it's important to help customers make informed decisions when adopting EVs and understanding how charging can impact the grid. That kind of ties into the data collection. So it's important for the utility to know where EVs are in a service territory to manage the grid. So, for example, if there's a neighborhood with 5 homes and they're all on the same transformer, and they all get EVs and they plug in all at night, that could cause an overload on the transformer. So it hasn't happened to us yet, but it's always something that we want to keep an eye on just to ensure the stability of the grid. So how did we get here? So this is a roadmap of a little history on the EV program. So starting in 2012, the Light Department installed 2 stations at Acton Toyota and 1 at the office at 39A Road. Those were both level 2s, and use of these stations were free. That goes back to helping the adoption of the EV technology. And jumping to 2018, that's when we installed the 4th public EV charger, which was at the town hall in Littleton. That's also when we implemented a public charging fee for the first time. And that was 12 cents a kilowatt hour plus a $2 an hour parking fee. And we still had our customers able to charge for free to continue to provide those benefits. 2019, we launched our EV program for incentives. We hosted an event. I'm sure many of you were attended there. That was really good. And that's when we really announced the rebates and incentives. 2021, we added our first charger for Boxborough, and that was at the Sergeant Library. That's also level 2. 2022, that's when we updated the public charging fee to a time of use. And that was really to encourage off-peak charging and to start that education on the importance of charging off-peak. So that was $2.50 an hour on peak, $1 per hour off peak. At this time, we still had our customers able to charge for free. In 2023, last year, we installed our first DC fast charger at our office. That was from a Mass EVIP grant. And the level 2 station that was here, we repurposed that and moved that over to the Littleton library. And then we also, through a Green Communities grant, with help from the town of Littleton, we installed 2 more stations at the Littleton library. And that's when we also shifted the public fee to the customer fee and then increased the public fee, which we'll touch on there. So 2024. So we're working on installing a fast charger up at the municipal lot in the Littleton Common. And that's partially funded through a Mass EVIP grant. And those should be operational in about a month. So we're happy to see that project come into completion. And as of August 1st this year, we installed a level 2 charger at Castle in the Trees with the help from the town of Littleton and the Parks and Rec Department, which was also through a Mass EVIP grant. And here we are today at our EV forum, and we hope to increase program input and engagement. And you see a couple of the spaces that are empty, which is us wanting to continue to develop the program to serve our customers. So we hope to hear some feedback from tonight. So let's dive into the public charging stations. Before we dive in, I just want to do another poll question. So let me look that up. All right, so you should see our second poll of the night. Where do you usually charge your EV? So it's either at home, at work, at a Littleton Department public station, or a other station like a Tesla supercharger, or I don't have an EV. All right, so it looks like. All right, so majority of us here tonight charge at home. There's some at work, and there's the one that doesn't have the EV. Awesome. All right, so back to the slide. This is a map that overviews the 9 public stations that the light department manages. These stations are installed on municipal lots where we know the power is relatively available, and it helps avoid having to go through any easements and other permissions that we would have to do. Also, the fees to use these stations helps with the cost to manage this station, which we're going to touch on in the next few slides. So the station pricing. So what's our goal? So our goal is to provide sustainable and accessible EV charging infrastructure that serves the current and future needs of our customers and the community as a whole, which includes businesses and visitors coming in our community. So the fees we collect are used really to recover the cost of energy that's dispensed from the stations, while also capturing a little bit more to reinvest into the EV program. So what do I mean by reinvest into the program? That really is to make sure that we have enough funds to maintain the stations, to make sure that they're up and available, and also to be able to add more stations as we see a demand for that, and really to grow the EV program to provide more incentives for our customers for the EV program as a whole. So we don't really expect the fees to cover the installation costs, hardware costs, the staff time, or really just to be a profit. It's really difficult to recover costs through these station fees. So that's why we always like to go after the grants to help with that installation cost. So a little history on the public station fees. In 2022, that was when the time of use fee was implemented to educate and promote the off-peak charging behavior. Um, and it also was used to recover some of the costs of managing the stations. At the time, we were only managing 5 stations in 2022, so this fee was just implemented to the public um, and not for the light department's customers, so they still had free access. And in 2023, we were now managing 8 stations with one more on the way. So what we had done is we had ended the free charging of the whole. So the public fee became the light department customer fee, while the public fee increased by 50 cents for the off-peak and on-peak. And then we also introduced the fast charger last year in July, and we kept the same split fee structure as to the public versus a discount for our customers. So the charging fee analysis we used was we went on PlugShare to really survey the area to see what was being charged. And we wanted to keep up with the area. And so this shows kind of an outline of what we had looked at. And we surveyed towns around us, such as Reardon, Concord, Acton, Westford, Maynard. We found that the average cost for level 2 public stations was 35 cents a kilowatt hour. And this was conducted in May of 2023. And as you can see, the majority of the stations use a cost per kilowatt hour. And that's something that we do want to shift back to when you guys are. So this graph here represents the correlation between the sessions and the fees collected between July 2022 and June 2024. So this really helps us get an overview of how the stations are performing. We're looking at the fees versus the amount that's being used. So the green line that you see is the fees collected by month, and the blue line is the amount of sessions per month. So basically what this shows us is that the sessions were really high when there was free charging and the fees were low. So we weren't really collecting much relative to how much the session was being used. Then you can see the switch, which happened around July and June of last year. And back then is when the free charging ended and the public fee increased. That's when you see a drop in the sessions and increase in the fees collected. And it does look like the fees collected went up, which financially is a good thing. But we want to take a closer look at these sessions and how those drops. So this shows the sessions by driver. It's within the same time period as that last slide. So the light gray is the total sessions. The green sessions, or the green line is the sessions by the light department customers, and the blue line is the public, which is non-customers. So the majority of the sessions were the light department customers up until May 2023. And then a couple months after that was the free charging ending. So that was where we saw the decline. And we see that the light department customer usage flatlines are about around 50 sessions per month now. While the public usage, that actually was flatlined for a long time and then increase when we added new stations at the Littleton Library. Hard to say if that's the reason, but that now seems to flatline around 50 stations per month now. So right now, the majority of the stations are being used by the public versus our customers. That brings back to our goal, where we really want to provide our customer benefits and support the adoption of EVs for our customers. So we would like to see these stations be more useful for our customers. And we've been working with the Littleton Sustainability Committee to explore new charging fee structures that will encourage more of our customers to charge and use these stations, while also still recovering the cost of energy, plus having a little bit more fee structure. So it's really to find the balance between covering those costs while still making sure that the stations are being used. And something that we definitely want to switch back to, as I mentioned earlier, is steer away from the time of use rate and go back to the kilowatt hour fee structure, just like what we do now for our DC fast station. All right, so we're going to play into community awards real quick and just give some program updates and highlights. So this is our EV program participation. So you see, we have 377 EV drivers registered in the program. The majority are in Littleton, and then Foxborough and Harvard as well. There's 242 customers that are enrolled in the discounted public charging group. And on the right there, you see the 630 Mass DOT registered EVs. So we get some information from the state that's online, and shows that how many EVs are registered by zip code. So we see that there is more. There appears to be more EV drivers in our service area than what we have enrolled in our program. So that kind of tells us that maybe we should be marketing more, or gets us really to think on how we can capture all of our EV drivers. And right now we are offering EV program rebates. So right now we do the $300 level 2 home charger rebate. We've offered that since 2019, and we've issued 162 total rebates, as well as the $8 per month incentive to charge at home off peak. And that's just one, we have a level 2 station. And we have 173 drivers enrolled in that as well. And right now the off-peak hours are 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. on the weekdays. Now, with that presentation, I'd like to kind of open up to questions and feedback. And I believe I did have more poll questions, so we can start with some of those. So the first question, what is most important to you in the EV program? Whether that's rebates and incentives, public charging, time of use rates, educational and technical assistance. Maybe there's a mix of both. I'm not sure if Zoom will let us pick more than one, but just kind of pick out what would most be. All right, awesome. So it looks like the rebates and incentives win this one. And then time of use rates and education and technical assistance. So that's really good to know. The public charging is the least of the importance of the EV. I do see a question here. Where is the municipal lot on Littleton Common where the DCFC will be installed? Yeah, so right now, if you know Comic Convenience, that's the store on the corner of Goldsmith Street. That's right to the left of that. So it's going to be right in there. They're going to be set in the back right. and we'll have plenty of signs there to let people know. We have another question here. What if I need to charge during peak times? Do I need to reprogram my Level 2 charger on a one-off basis? So that's a really good question, and I believe you're referring to charging at home. So we definitely understand that life happens, and there could be times when you have to make sure that your car is charged. So that's totally okay. And I'm pretty sure most stations would allow you to just plug in, even if you had a schedule set. There should be an option to override a schedule. But if not, I'd be curious to hear if that's kind of an issue. But yeah, if you do need to charge during peak times, that's especially if your home has solar. That's really the best time is if you're producing your own energy to charge at home. That's something that obviously you're producing energy at home and you want to charge up with that, and it's during on-peak hours. That's of course okay. Awesome. Yeah. So there's some appreciation for the responses of the town's questions and acting on rebates. So that's really good to hear. Thank you. Another question is, what is the rate for home charging compared to public charging for customers? That's a really good question. So if you charge at your house, that's the same as your residential rate, which right now is just around 14 cents a kilowatt hour. And if you charge at a public station as a light department customer, if you're charging on peak, which is the majority of the time in the weekday, that's $2.50 an hour, which equates to about 36 cents kilowatt hour. And then if you're off peak, it's $1 per hour, which equates to about 14 cents a kilowatt hour. So right now, it's definitely less expensive to charge at home, your residential rate. Good question. How long do you think it would take to finish changing your public station rates? When will your analysis be finished? That's a great question. We're really trying to get this up to date, definitely before the end of the year, and even hopefully by the time we install and get the stations at the calm and operational. Like I said earlier, we've been working really well with the Littleton Sustainability Committee. They've done a tremendous job helping really help us look at the fee structure and kind of how it relates to capturing the cost through having a split fee for the public and our customers. So that's been really helpful, and I think we're going to find a solution really soon. We have a comment for thanks for not requiring a smart charger with off-peak charging rebate. Yeah, so the the off-peak charging rebate, you don't have to get the $300 rebate for that. You can use any charger you want as long as it's at level 2. So it doesn't need Wi-Fi. So if you aren't enrolled yet and you want to be enrolled in the off-peak incentive at home, you just need a level 2 station. So it doesn't need to be Wi-Fi or anything. It can be really anything. The second question here we have two. Will you change your off-peak times for public charging? It can make sense for some folks to park overnight to charge their vehicles, and they can't do that with the huge price difference. If no one is charging overnight at all, having someone charge overnight might be good. Yeah, so that's a good question. I think what we'll do is steer away from public, off-peak, and on-peak. So I think what we're going to do is really shift the public station fee just on a kilowatt hour basis. So we won't have that fluctuating fee structure for the public stations. So it will really mirror what we do now with the DC fast station, where we have one flat kilowatt fee. So I think that's some that work that. Oh, so the price difference meaning the extra charge for staying too long, particularly in COVID hours. Yeah, so at the public stations, we implemented the parking fee. That was to incentivize drivers to move their vehicle after they were done at the public stations. That's something that we kind of implemented to help with the station become available more, and some of that to that kind of it's some that was kind of also in place to kind of make sure that there was no kind of like people parking at these lots overnight, especially if if there was no lights, which I think all of them have lights, but um, yeah, that's a good that's a very good point. Okay. Are there any discounts out of town charge point stations or other types of stations? So for the public stations that's out there, that really depends on the station owner. So it's very variable, and there's some apps that will let you know what it costs to charge at the stations. So it really depends on the station owner and how they have that network set up. A really good question is how do we register as a LELD customer at a public station? Yeah, it's a great question. On our website, when you enroll in the EV program, you can select well, actually, yeah, if you register for the EV program on our website, you'll get an email that's sent out with the instructions on how to access the discounted charging group. And that's both with the charge point stations at level 2 and then the Blink at level 3. So you get a code sent, and then that code, you'll want to enter that in on the charge point network. And then what that does is that will let us know that there's been a new request, and it'll ask for your account number, which is your electric account. That's so we can kind of verify that you're our customer, and then we'll let you in, and then you can access the stations. But just be mindful that after that, you will want to activate the stations with your ChargePoint account or your Blink account. Because if you activate the station with a credit card, the station won't know that you're in that group. So you definitely want to use your account that you use to enroll in the discounted charge group. Will you be charging the recently announced Blink access fee for level 3 chargers? Yeah, it's a good question. We got an email actually a couple weeks ago from Blink, and it seemed like we didn't have an option. So we're trying to work with Blink on that, and we've had some issues with our Blink station, which I kind of wish we went with ChargePoint as we have with our existing network. But hopefully we can get around that. That's something that we'll definitely want to do. But based on what we got from Blink, it was kind of seemed like we didn't have an option. That's something that we're working on. And if that is the case, we would definitely let everyone know in our EV driver group, if that was the case. Will the common fast chargers be CCS2 and Max? I've replaced my old EV that used CHAD Demo with a new one that uses CCS2. Great question. So we actually had to do CCS and the CHAD per the Mass EVIP grant. It seems like they've relaxed that a little bit. So it is something that we would have the option to convert the plug to the Max. But as of right now, the stations were shipped with the CCS and the CHAD, which was the state requirement. So as of right now, that's what it'll have. But if we can get around with replacing the CHAD with the NAX plug, that's something that we would have to do. I think I might have one more poll question, as the questions seem to be winding down. So we'd like to know if a demand response program would be of interest for our customers. So what this really means is, would you enroll your level 2 station at home in the demand response program where it can be modified if there was a peak event on the grid, if it could be turned off or kind of influenced in any way. This is kind of the same idea with how we give rebates to smart thermostats. The reason why it has to have Wi-Fi to get the rebate is for that potential opportunity to have a demand response program. So that's also kind of the reason why for the level 2 station rebate, it has to have Wi-Fi. All right, it's good to see that there's no no's, which is nice. That's good to see. Awesome. Yeah, if something that was to be offered, it would definitely be incentivized. I think that's something that we've seen in the industry, and we've kind of looked at the demand response program as a whole, not just with EV chargers, but kind of at a whole approach. But we don't have anything like that yet to announce. But it's good to hear the feedback that the EV stations would be something. All right, another question here. How do the usage rates of the Littleton public chargers compare to those in surrounding towns? Sessions versus registered EVs. How do they use it? So I think if I understand the question correctly, so we only have the information for the sessions and the registered EVs for the station that we manage. So we don't really know any information as far as if our customers are charging at public stations outside of ours or not. I think that's the question. If not, please feel free to explain. And I think I do have the ability to allow people to speak. If there's anyone who wants to kind of elaborate, it might be easier to understand questions or provide any feedback. That's also a possibility. I think if folks raise their hand, if that's something that they wanted to do, that would be fine. All right, so I don't see any hands raised for the questions. I'd like to provide my information. I'm sure most of you have it. I just want to put it up there for those. If there's anything else that you'd like to kind of share offline of this, feel free to reach out. My email's there, my contacts is there as well. So feel free to reach out, provide some insight and feedback. It'd be really good to hear. And yeah, so I don't see any hands raised for further questions in the chat. So I just want to thank everyone for helping on tonight. Okay, will this recording be shared? Yeah, so we recorded it to record the questions. That way I didn't have to take any notes. But if that's something that is of interest, we can definitely provide that. Thank you, and thanks to all you. You're welcome. Can you show the screen of the various town rates again? Yeah. So let's see. I believe it's this slide here that you're referring to. This year was taken in May 2023 when we surveyed our surrounding area. And as you see, the majority is the cost per kilowatt hour, and took the average, which we found was 35 cents a kilowatt hour. But something to kind of keep in mind with this, you know, we don't understand and know how these stations determine their price. You know, it could be that the town they're in, their electric rate could be really high compared to us, which I'm sure it probably is. So, you know, that's something that's kind of keep in mind as well. When we calculated the average, did you include the NC or zero in the average? No. So this average, we took out all of the stations that were free. There was a few stations that did have no cost to use. And those stations were removed from this. And that was because we wanted to shift away from the free charging incentive. So we kind of calculated all of the time based or the fee-based stations to get that 35 cents. For example, there's still towns that still have no charge to charge. Yeah, so if you look on Plugshare now, you can still find stations that allow free access. I wish we could offer that still. We offered that for probably, I think, just over 11 years, I think. And I think we saw that it was time as we saw more EV drivers enrolled in the program and the demand to install more stations. We kind of saw that we really should be implementing this fee to help with those costs. Yep. And yeah, so we'll be announcing the any updates to our EV program and the fees for the public stations. As I mentioned, we're going to shift away from the time of use fee and just have that 1 kilowatt hour fee structure. I think that'll be really helpful, especially for those who have like either a hybrid or different EVs that charge at different rates, or actually at different speeds. So I think that's the more equitable fee structure that we've done in the past. All right. So I just want to thank everyone again for helping on tonight. Really good to hear about feedback, and this could be something that we do more often if we find it helpful for our customers. And yeah, so just want to thank everyone. And please reach out if you have any further questions or comments or insights or anything that we need help. We're always here to yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your night.